This is a example training session that you guys can do with your puppy. Our pup here is Coco, and we've already had her for a couple weeks or so she's already like 10 weeks. But you definitely want to start training like first thing, like day one, even if it's as basic as just like saying their name and giving them a treat when they look at you, or having them sit, like doing basic stuff. So here Carly is doing place. So place is super important in terms of like having a spot for the dog to go where they can just like observe the world, be calm, and not having to get involved in people and get in their personal space, right? And so, part of that training involves putting the dog in place, and then it's a lot of frequent treats and frequent rewards, right? And obviously as the dog gets older, you can back up more and more. You can do less frequent treats. Carly even later on might go in the kitchen and just kind of leaves Coco there for a while. So that's super important. This was mealtime, and mealtime is always the best time that we've learned to do training, just because one, the puppy's hungry, right? And so you're going to reward them with food, so you might as well make them earn the food in some way, shape, or form. And most puppies are typically pretty high motivation, and they're really easily motivated by food. And so there's some times when that might not be the case, but typically puppies hungry, they're willing to work hard for their food. And so it's just a natural progression, just a natural moment in which you can just train your pup. So here's Carly continuing to do place. And the goal is for Coco just to be calm and staying in that place area. When they were first a pup and you're just introducing place, we were kind of taught to use these cots or these mats so they have a specific space where they want to go to. But as they get older, you can try and put your dog in place wherever you might want them to be. So like just off on the floor somewhere, or on a dog bed or whatever. It doesn't even have to be a specific like a bed or anything, just anywhere they are, you can just try and put them in place. And so that's a super, super effective tool. And so Carly's doing place.
I think it's really important to teach your dog how to be calm and to be in one space. And like you mentioned before, being able to observe the world in a calm manner, because a lot of trainers and a lot of people think that what is important to dogs is motion and getting them tired by doing more activity, but the best way to tire them out is mental stimulation, and that involves learning how to be calm. That's the hardest thing a puppy has to learn how to do in the world, to stay calm.
So in this case, when you get them off of place, you just say free is the command, and the release that we were taught is just say free and they get off. And obviously down and sit can be tricky, especially going from down up to sit. You see Coco's kind of like looking like, what do you want me to do? And I love that she's staying down, but it definitely takes a little bit of a extra effort there to get her up into sit. Kind of sit down can be tough. Also, having your dog stay in down can be tough. And so that's something that you definitely want to start off early. This is leave it Carly's doing. So she's kind of tossing some food down on the ground and telling Coco to leave it. And the goal is that Coco won't take it, right? And just kind of look at Carly. This is super, super helpful for anything that you don't want your dog to have in their mouth, whether it's sandals or boots or food that falls from the table, things like that. So this is another great thing that you can start right from the beginning. In terms of training your puppy. Once again, Coco's been practicing this for probably a couple weeks now, and it just takes a lot of practice. But even at 10 weeks or 11 weeks or so here, she's doing a really great job.
This is how the puppy starts to learn the recall command, or come. You would throw one piece of kibble in the opposite direction and tell them to go get it. Coco, get it. And as soon as they get that kibble in their mouth, you are running the opposite direction backwards and saying, Coco, come. Remember to only say it one time. And the more excited you are, the faster you're moving backwards, the more they're going to come after you. And they're learning that word come means to follow me and to come to me. And the last thing you see is me making Coco go into a sit command before getting her reward.
So another thing that's super important is, your dog is going to have to visit the vet pretty often, especially when they're younger and getting vaccinations, and also going to the groomer and things like that. So we want to try and make sure that your dog is super comfortable and confident with that process. And so I would say from day one, starting kind of this handling or touching? Yeah, so handling, where you're grabbing the ears, pulling them back. You can see Carly kind of like examines the teeth. She kind of grabs Coco's snout or nose area, whatever, getting out eye boogers, and just kind of getting her comfortable with, hey, great job, thanks for letting me kind of grab you that way, here's a treat, just to get her kind of comfortable with being at the vet and being at the groomers and in ways that they might have to handle her. So that's super important too, especially when they're younger, just getting them familiar and used to that kind of activity. And so here we're trying to sit pretty, where you kind of put the food kind of right up behind her nose, and she kind of sits up on her hind legs. Kind of started spinning, sort of like, what are you asking me to do? Oh, she kind of got it there. So, listen, this is not a perfect science, right? Dogs are going to make mistakes. It's a long process of training, long process of practicing. And so, she wasn't super successful at that. So Carly moves on quickly to something that Coco was successful at. And during a training session, we've been taught too that puppies can have little tantrums and things like that. You can only push a dog so far. They're mentally really going to be exhausted as you're going through these training sessions. And so, 5, 10, I think this session was 10, 15 minutes long. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, just a couple minutes a day. It really makes a big difference. We got some other tricks. We have spin. I think she had her stay there a minute ago. So just kind of mixing it up, keeping it fresh. And then here we have heel. So, we really haven't started walking around the leash around too much. As she's not fully vaccinated, we don't really take her too far from our house, but having her learn the process and just the command of heel, so she knows to kind of stay close to us, can only kind of help set her up for success when we start walking on the leash pretty soon. And so here's a situation where she's going to put Coco in place. She's going to kind of go off to the kitchen, kind of out of her line of sight, and see if she'll stay on place. She's thinking about it. She's looking at me behind the camera is what she's doing.
So this is Coco learning the touch command. Touch is used to basically just get Coco used to following a command. So touch is super easy. And as soon as their nose hits my hand, she gets a reward. And that is like the beginning of target commands. So having her do a little bit more service work. So nothing that, we really are going to be training Coco to do specifically, but as a puppy, this helps her to learn also that hands are not for chewing. This will be good if you have kids at home. Just giving them the ability to do the touch command, meaning they touch my hand with the nose and they get a treat. So no mouthing of the hands, no biting at them. This will really help to keep the biting down for puppies.
This was an extra hard leave it for sure for Coco. There's the bowl of food right there. So she's showing really great restraint as a puppy and not burying her face in that bowl. So she knows though she's going to get that big reward at the very end when she goes into her crate and gets the rest of her food and then kind of chills out and processes what she learned. And now at the very end, we have her kennel. And so we really want to make the crate kind of a positive place. And so you always finish off a training session in the crate. For her, we say kennel up. She goes in her crate, and then we reward her with the rest of her food. And then just kind of chill out there for a while. Like I said, just process everything that she's learned in the training session. And so that's where we finish it off. So hopefully this has been like a good overview of like just some of the stuff that you can do in a training session. We'll have a lot more detailed stuff for you guys to kind of follow and learn from, but this is what we're doing.